Before I wrap up the news, I want to give my 2 cents on this. So Square Enix admits FF7 Rebirth and FF16 profits did not meet expectations. I've seen so many debates about this. People say it's sold poorly because it's only on one console, the PS5, which is true. It would have sold much more if it was on all consoles. But you gotta remember, the only other consoles you can add it to is Xbox, and Xbox they don't do well when it comes to FF games. Otherwise they would have done it in the first place for like especially FF16. But we need to see the sales for FF15 on the Xbox. So I'm sure that didn't sell that well. RPGs in general don't sell well on the Xbox. Like we need to check the Persona sales as well, like Persona 5 and Persona 3 Reload. But it's been notorious now where Xbox don't do well for Japanese-based games or RPGs or JRPGs. It just doesn't. When it gets released on Xbox eventually, it just doesn't sell well. There's been legit stats and evidence for this. So Xbox doesn't help much. Switch, the console will just explode. It ain't gonna handle it. PC is a good option, but I don't think it will improve it that much because you gotta remember most of the play base is on the PlayStation. Let's be real. Editing Kuro interjecting here. Just want to clarify, I'm not hating on Final Fantasy 16 or 7 Rebirth remake. Final Fantasy is my favorite gaming franchise there is. I just want Square to do more when it comes to promoting, marketing this game and making it big. But if you look at the PC sales of Final Fantasy 16, it's not doing that great. PC sales or Steam sales is comparable to Final Fantasy 15 and FF7 remake. I think it makes up 10% of the total sales of the consoles. And to put in perspective, God of War Ragnarok had more sales or had peak players within the first few minutes to an hour compared to Final Fantasy 16 that was out for a couple of days. I know God of War is a bigger franchise, it's a much bigger series, has a big audience, but Final Fantasy should be somewhat close to it. Like back in the days, Final Fantasy was the biggest RPG there is, especially on the PS1 era. God of War Ragnarok disappointed a lot of players and God of War fans, and Final Fantasy 16 is a better game in my personal opinion, but the sales doesn't even compare. If you compare the sales of Final Fantasy 16 to Final Fantasy 15 on PC, I think the sales are very comparable, but Final Fantasy 15 came out a little over 2 years since it was released on the console, while Final Fantasy 16 was released just a little over 1 year since it was released on the consoles. Again, this is further evidence, further proof Final Fantasy name isn't as big and it's not selling as well. So I don't think the PC release of FF7 Rebirth will do much bigger numbers. I know why a lot of people believe that. I just don't think it will. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, the reason why FF16 is not doing well on PC is because it's released when the hype is kind of fallen off. But even when the hype is there, I genuinely believe it wouldn't do as big numbers as a lot of people think. Because if it's not selling that incredibly well on the PlayStation, where 80% of the playbase are, FF playbase are, they wouldn't really buy on PC. I know Final Fantasy 14 is very big on Steam, has a huge playbase, but that still wouldn't really improve much of the sales, in my personal opinion. You gotta remember, Final Fantasy has always been a PlayStation type of title since the PS1 era. So if it's not selling well on a PlayStation console, I don't think it'll sell much better on Steam or PC. Like, yes, maybe a couple millions, but it's still not gonna reach the 10 million mark as it should be. FF7 Rebirth especially should be doing 10 million sales easily. And let's give examples of other PS5 exclusive games. Look at Spider-Man 2. Sold amazingly well on PS5, only console that is. God of War Ragnarok sold incredibly well on the PS5, but Ragnarok is also on PS4, so let's not judge that one. Black Myth Wukong sold crazy numbers. I know that's on PS5 and Steam, and I'm sure that sold a lot of copies on PC and Steam, but Black Myth Wukong again, it sold a lot on the PS5. It probably outsold FF7 Rebirth and probably sold more copies than FF7 Remake and Rebirth combined. Let's not even mention FF16, that it sold more than that as well, which is crazy. People also mention like Square Enix expectations so high. Not really, because from the looks of it, they probably sold around the 3 to 4 million mark, which is not good for a Final Fantasy 7 title, especially for a new Final Fantasy game like FF16. FF15 sold 10 million copies. I think it sold 8 million copies within the first week, or 7 to 8, something like that. Final Fantasy 16 been out for like a year and it's probably sold like 3 to 4 million. So basically around half of Final Fantasy 15, which is crazy. And yes, there are less owners of the PS5 than PS4, but that's still insane to me, like how Final Fantasy 15 was the last very good selling Final Fantasy game in recent memories. That was in 2016. But while releasing the game on multiple platforms, multiple console, PC, wherever it may be, would have helped with sales, it wouldn't be much more. So the issue, in my opinion, isn't that it's so exclusive. The issue for me is the marketing. Because unfortunately, as sad it is to say this, Final Fantasy is not a big title as much anymore in this era, this generation, especially for the younger audience, like the teenagers. They don't, when they see Final Fantasy, they don't really care, they don't know what it is. So they need to improve the marketing. They need to go for the Final Fantasy 15 route, or follow what Fallout did. Do like a show for Final Fantasy game. Do like an anime show like FF15 did, and that helped with the marketing. Bro, have you seen Devil May Cry anime that's coming out on Netflix? Have you seen the trailer for that? That looks stunning. I don't know why freaking Final Fantasy hasn't done that. I saw like a fan animation of FF7 Rebirth to promote it. I'm like, yo, just make an anime. I don't understand. Make something, just promote it, like a movie even. You need to do something in a different media to promote your games. I think that's a very good marketing strategy. That's what freaking Fallout did. Fallout did a show, and on that month, Fallout games were the highest selling games. It was like 1 month after Rebirth came out or something like that. So the Fallout game sold more copies than FF7 Rebirth, which was like a new game. It was only like a month-old game, which is ridiculous. How does that make sense? Apparently there's a Super Bowl just before FF7 Rebirth was out, and didn't do no marketing there, which they should have. Their marketing strategy needs to be improved a lot. I don't know who they got to manage that, but they're not doing a good job at all. They need to try and target a younger audience, the teenagers. Heck, put in Fortnite. Why not? Why is Cloud not in Fortnite yet? Why don't we have the Buster Sword in Fortnite? Why do we have the Buster Sword in Apex and not in Fortnite? What the heck's happening? Fortnite would be best placed. That's where a lot of kids play, man. That's where a lot of teenagers and youngsters play. So you really got a lot of eyes on the game. Heck, bro, add Midgar in there. You know how cool that would be, having Midgar as a like an area in Fortnite. That would give a lot of interest to these younger new generation of people. Like, oh, what the hell is this? What's this big ass sword that looks cool they can use magic with? What are these shiny orbs in my Buster Sword? What is this? Like, they would be very interested. I don't know what they're doing in the marketing. They're not doing a good job. They think Final Fantasy can sell with the name alone, which is not a good idea. It's not as big as it was back 10 years ago, which is sad because Final Fantasy is some of the best games there is right now. And the most polished. They have such unique combat mechanics, amazing characters, and it's not selling well. How annoying that is to not sell well with all these amazing aspects to the game. Bro, FF7 Rebirth might not even win Game of the Year. Not because other games are better, but because FF7 Rebirth hasn't sold enough copies to persuade people. People saying Wukong, Helldivers, of course they're going to say that because there's like double or triple amount of sales or player base in those games in FF7 Rebirth. So I was going to think Helldivers 2 and Wukong should win Game of the Year over FF7 Rebirth. The only major problem with FF7 Rebirth is it's too much of a game. It's too much in the game, and that's nitpicking. Yes, performance is an issue, mainly performance mode, but that, again, you can say with other games like Wukong doesn't run well on PC. My PC is struggling. My PC is quite strong, so I don't understand. People are saying the weak sales is because there's not enough Final Fantasy games coming out, but I also see a lot of arguments on the internet where people are saying there's too much Final Fantasy games coming out. I've seen people mention like Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 in the same year. It's a bad decision. People got burnt out by Final Fantasy 16 after playing a 70-80 hour game. And then you got other people saying there's not enough Final Fantasy relevancy coming every year. There isn't a new game every year like back in the day. But again, I don't think that's an issue. Kingdom Hearts series in general takes years to come out and sells amazingly well. God of War, big gaps between each entry, sells amazingly well. Same with Spider-Man. So in my opinion, it needs to improve the marketing for the next game. Make a movie, make an anime, make spin-off games, not mobile games, sack the mobile games. Make a turn-based spin-off game so you can get old fans that have left, which is probably a minority, but it'd be cool to do like a Smash Bros type of game with SquareEnix characters or Final Fantasy characters. That'd be amazing. Or do a new Dissidia, what they're doing, like come on man, you used to make these spin-off games where you can cross-promote the major upcoming games like Final Fantasy and whatnot. But market strategy is very underwhelming. Nobody knows Final Fantasy. These days, nobody knows what Final Fantasy is, which sucks. Also in marketing, do not copyright the freaking music, because a lot of these content creators, they don't post so much content on Final Fantasy in general because they get copyright with the music, so obviously they can't monetize and whatnot, so they probably just drop the game, play in their own time, but they never do videos on it, and that's like free promotion. So they need to stop with the freaking copyright on the music or how strict it is. I guess you fan. 17 in Roman numerals look ugly. It's gonna look very cumbersome on the title or the box art. I'm just a huge fan of like Final Fantasy. I just wish Square Enix can do more and do better in making a game so big. That's why I'm very passionate and concerned about the way Square Enix is managing their games. Final Fantasy 16's best promotion or marketing was the Final Fantasy 16 demo. That put a lot of eyes and noise to the game. But everything before the demo and after was sucked for pushing the game out there more. Same with 7 Rebirth and Remake. Again, that's another issue with the title. Rebirth, Remake are very similar. It's kind of like Wii and Wii U. A lot of people probably think it's the same game. Kind of wish they went for the part 2 approach instead of Rebirth. I think another problem with the Final Fantasy Remake trilogy as well is first game Remake, second game is Rebirth. The names are too similar, so a lot of the average fan or the casual fan, they probably wouldn't recognize it's a sequel. Especially when part 3 comes out, that's 3 R's. So a casual game will see FF7, and if they see the R, they'll be like, okay, it's probably Remake, it's probably Rebirth or something, and be confused. Kind of like the Wii and the Wii U situation. I think the U didn't change much, everyone for the same console, just upgrade. Or also, get big streamers like Kai Cenat. Kai Cenat did like an Elden Ring playthrough, and I bet you Bandai or FromSoft, whoever, got Kai Cenat, got in contact with him to play Elden Ring from start to end to promote the DLC that came out like a couple of weeks after his playthrough. And that put a lot of eyes on Elden Ring. They need to do that with Final Fantasy. Square Enix, go get these streamers. I don't know about Speed, I think Speed would drop the game, but you need these streamers to play it. That would be such big marketing for you. I know it'd probably be expensive to get these streamers, but that is a smart strategy. And I'll put a lot of the new younger audience to play part 3 or to put a lot of eyes on the sequel to FF7 Rebirth. I honestly believe they don't even have a marketing department or people, because right now they are not doing a good job, or Square Enix are not willing to put the money in when it comes to promotional materials of the games. Like, I don't believe FoamStar is even doing that good, and that should be quite big. That should be the Splatoon version on the bigger console like PS5, but no. Speaking of other titles, I think The World Ends With You didn't do that well, the sequel. Yoko Taro is another person in Square Enix that you need to follow more as well. They are so stingy and strict with a lot of Square Enix titles, specifically Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts makes sense because of Disney, but Final Fantasy, they were not willing to put Cloud anywhere. We didn't see him in Astro Bot. He was close to not coming back in Smash Bros. Ultimate. Apparently he was the last one and the most difficult one to get back, according to Sakurai. They didn't get the music issue or the copyright issues. But if you look at Yoko Taro, he stated recently he will never say no to money when it comes to adding 2B and other projects and other crossover and collaborations. 2B is everywhere. I'm surprised she's not in Smash Bros yet, but I wouldn't doubt her being added in the next Smash Bros. Hopefully that's the case. 2B's in Soul Calibur, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, Stellar Blade, Fall Guys. She was one of the first in Fall Guys. Then there's the anime of Nier. I'm sure she's in PUBG as well. Then there's that mobile game like Nikke, whatever it's called. I can't pronounce that. But Cloud, where you at? He was close to being added in Soul Calibur, but no. Capcom's another company that loves to do crossovers. Look at Street Fighter crossing over with SNK. I don't know why Square Enix is not doing and pushing most crossovers. It's like free promotion in itself. Like, we can't even get Cloud and Kingdom Hearts free. Like, come on. They're both Square Enix titles, come on. So that's my opinion on the sales regarding Final Fantasy games. They're not as big of a draw anymore. Final Fantasy has a history of like 30 plus years. It should be massive at this stage. It should be having a big audience. I don't understand. I regard myself as Persona fans, but Persona fans are so dedicated to the series. You know, they always talking about it, discussing about it. We need more of that with Final Fantasy games. They just do better marketing, put more eyes on the series, you'll be fine. Do an anime, do spin-off games, get these streamers involved. Don't copyright the damn music a lot, so you get free promotion, free marketing material from like content creators. Put in the big adverts in like Super Bowl or whatnot. And let's hope it wins Game of the Year. That'll encourage a lot more discussion with the game, because it can cause a lot of uproar. People are like, oh, it should be Wukong, it should be Helldivers, and then the fans of FF7 Rebirth are coming like, nah, you guys have not played peak, bro. You have not played the game of the decade, which is Rebirth. Hopefully Square Enix take whatever I said on board, even though they're never going to see this video. They need a better strategy going on for the next game.